Now to the favorite, the man you referred to, the biggest hurdle for Rory is Scotty, as in Scheffler. Again, I'm going to ask the unfair question just because I'm fascinated to hear your answer. But how close is Scotty to Tiger? How close will he ever be to Tiger?
So tee to green, he is Tiger, believe it or not. Tee to green, he's as good as Tiger when Tiger was at his best, which is mind boggling to me. I never
It
thought I was
is.
going to see that. The difference between what Tiger was on the greens and what Scotty is on the greens, and so the difference in the aggregate of all aspects of their game is the difference between Usain Bolt and whoever finished second to Usain Bolt. And actually, when you do the percentages, it comes out to exactly the right percentage of how much Usain Bolt was outrunning his competitors. That's how much Tiger Woods would outrun Scottie Scheffler. He's so much better than Scottie Scheffler. It's mind blowing. You know, he's secretariat to, I can't remember the name of the doggone horse
Yeah.
that kept finishing second to
Yeah.
Secretariat in 73. That's how much better what
Okay.
Tiger was to Scottie Scheffler. But having said that, there's only ever been one golfer in the scoring average. You know, you keep a track of the Barton Trophy. There's only ever been one golfer with a lower scoring average than Scottie Scheffler, and that's Tiger Woods. And he did it innumerable times. You know, 8, 9, 10 times. But Rory's never had a lower scoring average than Scottie Scheffler had last year. Nobody, not Dustin, not Jordan, not Brooks Koepka, none of them. So that's because he hits the ball so well.
And the difference is the flat stick, because
That's
we
right.
talked about Tiger's putting, and Scotty's already had to resort to some sort of version of the claw.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
In fact, I'm sort of surprised he's been as dominant as he is, struggling with the putter as much as he has. But he does have that mental capacity to will home some big putts in big moments.
He does. Look, he's not a bad putter. He's an average putter.
Yeah.
He's an average putter on the PGA Tour. I mean, he doesn't pick up strokes on the field. He doesn't really lose strokes on the field. He misses his share of putts, but Tiger was the best putter. And what we know from data, and you know, I mean, yeah, you do hear the adage, drive for show, putt for dough, but really it's the opposite. So, you know, our Bill James is a fellow by the name of Mark Brody. And what he has figured out with his data is that what you do tee to green is 5 times more important than what you do on the green.
Really?
Now, of course, yes, statistically speaking, it's 5 times more important. So the best players, the ones who win the most, yes, they're the best ball strikers, but they're the best ball strikers who have the best putting week. Okay. So you're not winning golf tournaments unless you're a marvelous ball striker. And you're certainly not going to be one of the great players of all time unless you're a superior ball striker, which is true of Jack, Hogan, Jones, Tiger, all of them.
Okay. So speaking of technique, mechanics, I'm curious what you think when you watch the replays of Scotty's, especially his right foot just spins out. I've never seen anything like it before, and it works, right?
It does. He looks like, you know, one of those ice skaters doing a pirouette and somehow managed to hit a 320-yard drive as straight as anybody's ever. I'll give you a piece of data that you.
Okay.
So there's a statistic on the PGA Tour that I look at a lot. Not many people refer to it, but I absolutely look at it a lot. It's called distance from the edge of the fairway. Okay. So the people that generally lead distance from the edge of the fairway are predictably the shortest of hitters. They're the guys who swing the club head 104 miles an hour to 109 miles an hour. Scottie Scheffler swings the club right at 120 miles an hour. And last year, he led the PGA Tour in distance from the edge of the fairway, meaning he had the smallest miss on tour, swinging at 120 miles an hour. So he's the farthest thing away from the stereotypical bomber. And at the same time, he looks like, if you just look at his feet, a drunk at a driving range. His feet are going everywhere.
Said.
They're
Love
spinning,
that.
they're jumping,
Bingo.
they're you know, and it's like they're such incongruent actions. You know, the golf ball and the feet, they don't match up.
They don't match up. And Brandel, I would think, if you ask me, as I try to analyze this, I would think he would lose power. He would have a big power leak because he loses his right foot, but it seems like he's losing it after impact somehow. We're at impact. He's really good and really powerful, right?
Yeah, he's unbelievable. I mean, what we've, our thinking has changed a little bit. When I grew up, it was about footwork. There was so much talk about proper
Mm-hmm.
footwork. Of course, nobody had more elegant footwork than Ben Hogan. Now, Bobby Jones did get up on his toes at impact.
Okay.
He did get up on his toes, but Hogan's footwork was immaculate. It was beautiful, and so was Jack Nicklaus's, and then so was Tom Watson's.
Mm-hmm.
And Jerry Pates, my era. And so I'm
Mm-hmm.
I'm watching all these people's beautiful footwork. But beginning with Tiger Woods, we're like, what's going on here? Why is Tiger Woods flying off the ground? Why is his front foot? It was flying off the ground like this. It was pronating like this. Here's his
Yep.
toes, like over here,
Mm-hmm.
off the ground. Up his right foot would come straight up off his heel in transition, and they created something called force plates.
Mm-hmm.
So you put these force plates down, and what you find out is that the way to hit the ball the longest is to jump off the ground to impact. So if you watch the longest drivers, they're all jumping off the ground. It's like they're all lifting weight. They're jumping. They're getting into the ground in
Yep.
transition. They're squatting down, and then boom, they're flying up.
Mm-hmm.
So what's amazing is that Scotty Scheffler has all of these techniques to hit it as far as he can in terms of jumping off the ground. And yet he hits it straighter than anybody in the game in terms of his miss. Uh, it's bizarre, but players generally speaking, and this wasn't true with Tiger, but for the most part, genius players that come along that just dominate, they always do a little something different. Jack had the flying right arm.
He did. Yep.
Hogan had a really flat swing with a cupped grip.
Did.
They always do something a little bit different.
They do.
Arnold Palmer, shut face, strong
It's
grip,
crazy.
all
Yeah.
over the place.
Yep.
Tom Watson, long swing, strong grip, shut face.
Mm-hmm.
They're always a little different. The prettiest of golf swings, they're fun to look at. The Gene Littlers, the Al Geibergers, the Adam Scotts. But the Bubba Watson was probably the best driver for a long period of time. All over the place, his
All
feet
over the
were.
place.
Yeah, and Bubba, by the way, set the record for the strokes gained off of the tee. It hasn't been broken since, and his feet are all over the place. So the crazy footwork is a phenomenon of this generation.
Okay.